The 8-year assault on your Second Amendment freedoms has come to a crashing end. I like taking the guns early. Take the guns first, go through due process second.
Well, I say go fuck yourself. Then ask a question, could I kill a man? I would enjoy myself. You can't disguise evil eyes that burn a hole in my head. This devil man and his master plan. We feel so misled, so I say, rise up, take all back. Rise up, take it all back. Rise up. I hope you all understand. We got to take it all back again.
These people are not going to take it any longer. We will never give up. We will never concede. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. But go home and go home in peace. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. You do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
What up, everybody? How you doing? There's Riddle. What's up, Riddle? How you doing? It is Friday. We have HDP in the house. We have Gerald in the house. Already a good stream. How you doing, HDP? It's been a while. Hope all is well with you. I'm pretty happy that it's Friday. Don't really have any plans for the weekend, but usually we have movie night on Saturday nights, but this Saturday night I don't think we're going to have movie night because our neighbor is going to be out of town. So I'm going to be free Saturday evening after the Bible chat. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I might stream on Twitch because tonight I'll be streaming on Twitch doing karaoke, which it's a lot more fun than it sounds. I try to make it a good time. You know, I try to entertain the entire time, but some people get it, some people don't. I understand. That's fine. Other than that, not really anything in the news. And we got some stuff for the gardening. Riddle got her CPU ordered for her computer build, that little white box with a black square in the side. That's her little mini ATX case that we're putting a computer together. And right now she got, I think it was a 5900X. What? Jeez. I think I got a 2900X. So she's definitely got a very powerful CPU. She was going to order something else, and then I guess she couldn't find the CPU anywhere except for one place, and they had like one or two in stock because everybody else was basically charging like $1,000 for the damn thing or something. It wasn't it?
Yeah, their price goes on this particular CPU. This particular CPU, for some reason, everybody is clamoring to get it.
Yeah. Maybe we should have got another one for my next build. Although by the time we get around to my build, I don't know. It'll probably be a better one. Anyway, that's all I had. I've been watching a lot of Guns Coast to Coast. I hope you guys have too. He's got some really good material out, and it really makes you think. All right, see you later, Riddle. Riddle's got to go to the store. She'll be back later. We're gonna get some alcohol. Friday night. That's probably one of the reasons why we look forward to the weekends, because we try not to drink on the weekdays, and most of the time we're successful. But weekends, another story. Okay. Moderna had 300,000 adverse effects from its sniffle shot. Interesting. Moderna had 300,000 reports of adverse effects, a number far higher than the company reported to the FDA under the tracking system established to monitor sniffle shot side effects, according to an independent investigative reporter, Alex Bernson. Formerly a reporter of the New York Times, Bernson released internal reports from the IQVIA, a company retained by Moderna to track adverse effects of the sniffle shot. I guess this is his tweet. Everybody does their business on social media now. Moderna insider email reveals 300,000 adverse event reports in a 3-month period. Some of those might be the same person, though, which dwarfs the number of reports in the virus for the Moderna sniffle shot for either a 3-month period, January, March, April, and June. Okay. Only 300,000? I guess. I don't know. I am not a doctor. I just find out this shit with you. Unless you already knew this, and then you're ahead of the game. A person with access to the presentation provided screenshots of the relevant slide, which clearly explains the 300,000 side effects reports were received over a 3-month span, not since the introduction of the shot in December, and differentiates between them and medical information queries, said Brinson on his Substack web platform. So he did it on his own platform. I don't know. It sounds like this guy could be easily turned into a conspiracy nut. You know what I mean? Oh, look at him. He's crazy. He's got his own conspiracy website. 300,000 is not a tragedy. I have no idea. It could be that you had shortness of breath, for all I know. Right? Hopefully they'll get to that. Let's see. Headquartered in North Carolina, IQVIA has 74,000 employees worldwide and $11 billion in sales. Sorry about that. The 300 number of reported adverse effects is more than 10,500 adverse events that were found in the sniffle shot adverse event reporting system on the Health and Human Services website. So basically, the news story here is there's more than they reported. And that's kind of bullshit. According to the report by National File, Moderna said during a conference call this week that a third shot would likely be necessary as a booster for the sniffle shot in 6 months, which conflicts with previous assurances made the same day that a third booster shot would not be necessary. So publicly they said you didn't need a booster, but privately they did. Moderna asserted that their sniffle shot will last an unknown period of time and suggested no booster shots will be necessary. Then in an earnings call, they suggested that they will need 6-month booster shots, which are expected to boost profits. Why cure something when you can continuously treat it? Cancer? You don't think? I don't know how. I don't know how deep your guys' conspiracy theory runs, but I think cancer would have been cured a long time ago if there wasn't so much money to be made from it. Just personal opinion. Moderna's sniffle shot is an mRNA sniffle shot that uses genetic information to trick an immune response from subjects rather than using a weakened form of the sniffles. Although Moderna has been around for over a decade, or mRNA, the snivel shot by Moderna and Pfizer marked the first use of the technology in large-scale human trials. Oh, I know some of you all got the snivel shot. I hope you didn't get the mRNA one. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Don't take medical advice from me, but seems like that one is the most under tried. Like, this is the first large-scale human trial. And I mean, you got 50% of the nation just in this country alone, let alone wherever else they shotted people up around the world. As such, there are lingering questions by some about the efficiency and the side effects long term for mRNA type sniffle shots. Germany, France, Italy have each started booster shots for sniffles in response to the Delta surge of the sniffles, said the national file. New York Times reported the Biden administration is also considering a booster for those who have already gotten 2 shots of the various sniffle shots. Okay. Is that as groundbreaking of a story? I don't know. I was doing it without my headphones, and you know what? I want to do it with my headphones. Moderna was supposed to be the good one. Johnson and Johnson had the Johnson and Johnson did what? Brain clots? Wasn't that it on Johnson and Johnson? With Moderna, I knew for a fact, like when we were talking about it, we're kind of making up our mind if we're really seriously going to think about taking one of these things or not. And the Moderna, man, I was like, I'm steering clear of that one for sure. The Johnson and Johnson, a lot of people got because they just wanted to get the one. They didn't want to have to come back in 2 weeks and get another one, which I totally understand that. But at the same time, the way this thing was rushed, it was enough for me to be cautious on it from that point. And now, with all the other things that they're doing in order to get these shots in people's arms, as I've always said in my own personal life, whatever they want you to have that bad, I don't want it. I don't want it. And I believe Johnson & Johnson is back on the market, yeah. But it was for like a week. And we went to a restaurant. I remember that. We went to a restaurant, and the person waiting on our table had said that they had gotten the mRNA one, the Moderna one. Or no. Johnson & Johnson, sorry. It said they had gotten the Johnson & Johnson one, and then the next day, they pulled it for the brain clots. I was like, oh, damn. She's like, yeah, I was sweating bullets there. I was like, I bet you were. Federal workers could be fined or imprisoned if they lie on a sniffle shot permit form. Federal employees who need to certify their sniffle shot status under a new policy instituted by President Biden intended to encourage sniffle shots will face disciplinary action and potentially criminal prosecution if they lie on the form. The Biden administration on Friday unveiled the attestation form that employees will need to fill out, confirming whether they have been fully sniffle shotted against the sniffles, adding legal teeth to the president's mandate. Federal employees won't follow the honor system, but will instead be required to acknowledge that making a knowing and willfully false statement on this form can be punished by fine or imprisonment or both. So is it on the honor system? Federal employees won't follow the honor system, but will instead be required to acknowledge that making... Okay, so they're basically not having to show their papers, but if they say they got the sniffle shot and they did not, then they can get fined or imprisoned or both. The Associated Press obtained a copy of the form, which was distributed Friday to agency leadership and points of contact for sniffle safety protocol implementation. Under Biden's policy, those who are not sniffle shotted or choose not to complete the form will be subject to mandatory mask wearing and social distancing requirements and will be ineligible for office travel in most cases. Okay, I could still live with that as long as I'm still collecting a paycheck. The effort is part of the White House push to make it more difficult for eligible Americans to remain unsniffle shotted against the sniffles, with with the exception of those seeking to obtain a public service or benefit. Visitors to the federal office buildings, including the White House, will be required to fill out the form before visiting, according to federal policy. I would still lie. I don't trust any of those shots. Yeah, and I'd blame Trump for agreeing to go along with this last year. He trusted all the wrong. Bruh. I have been preaching that, James. I have been saying that. I don't even know how long. Trump, when he first got elected, had some really good people around him, right? People that told him when he was doing something that's not necessarily constitutional, like taking the guns first, due process second. And he got rid of all of them. And who did he bring in? He brought in the swamp. Dude said he was going to get rid or drain the swamp. He got old school swamp to come back. You know what it was? You know what I think it was? I think it was those people that he originally brought up, even though they were really good for him, they didn't always tell him what he wanted to hear. And I think Donald Trump wants to he wants to hear what he wants to hear. He wants yes men. And the people who, why we could never find the leak of the White House? Because it was some of the people he thought were his closest confidants, most likely, and just being yes men straight to his face the entire time. Meanwhile, secretly stabbing him in the back every chance they got. We saw that a little bit, once the whole November thing got contested. Federal workers, I already read that. I already read that whole story. Exactly. Yeah, I know. I believed in Trump. I had a friend at the time who tried to convince me Trump was a great guy before he got elected. Because before he got elected, I was like, well, I liked him in 2012 when he thought about running against Obama. And then during 2016, he was all right. But my favorite was Ben Carson, because Ben Carson, even though he's not, outspoken enough in order to play that game, if he actually had won, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I think he would have been the best president we've ever fucking had. That dude is smart as shit. He grew up in the streets. He grew up in the ghetto. He pulled himself up by his bootstraps. I think he would have done really well. But Trump won, and I appreciated that. I even voted for him, obviously, because, Ben Carson was out of the race by that time. Went to a Phoenix rally once, so I actually saw him. I wasn't even that far away from him. And then, of course, there was a little bit of a riot afterwards, which, it is what it is. I had to take care of business like a boss. And run. Well, I didn't run. Fuck, I didn't run. I was what, about 430 pounds at the time. I ain't running nowhere. White House threatens federal funds for contract recipients if they don't force the sniffle shots. The White House admitted it was considering withholding federal funding from certain industries that do not implement sniffle shot mandates for their employees. The Washington Post reported this week that President Biden might strip funding from nursing homes, cruise ships, and public universities if they do not adopt sniffle shot mandates. He might also restrict access to federal funds such as Medicare to force hospitals, long-term care facilities, and other healthcare centers to require the shots. The one that I'm kind of curious about is the cruise ships, right? Cruise ships right there. Because in Florida, DeSantis has made it illegal for you to require it, right? And there's a couple of cruise ships that are suing Florida over that, but I don't know if all of them are. When asked if this report was true, a White House official did not deny that Biden was considering taking such an extreme step. As we always are, the administration is discussing a host of different measures we can continue to boost sniffle shots around the country, a White House official told Fox News. Any report reported ideas under consideration are in early conversations and pre-decisional, the office of the official said. There is no implement policy decisions as to preview at this time. All right, they're just talking about it. I get that. I'm okay with that. They can talk about it all they want. Biden recently rolled out sniffle shot mandates for all federal workers and asked localities to use federal funds to pay $100 to everyone who gets the shot. Once again, if they wanted this, there are states that did lotteries. You would get your sniffle shot and you'd get put into a lottery where you could win $1 million. Now he's paying people $100 to get the shot. There are other employers that I know that are paying their employees to get the shot. So not only is it free, but you can make money getting it. Why are they pushing it so hard? I'm sure it's just for the health concerns of every American citizen, because the government cares about your health. Biden recently rolled out sniffle shot mandates for all federal workers, and I already read all that. Under the new policy, federal workers will be required to sign forms attesting they've been sniffle shotted against the sniffles, or else comply with new rules, mandatory masking, weekly testing, distancing, and more. Paul Light, a New York University's professor of public service, estimated there's nearly 7 million more employees who could potentially be included, combining those who work for companies that contract with the government and those working under federal grants. When announcing the mandate, Biden insulted those who have yet to get the shot, claiming they will get sick and fill up our hospitals and would take beds away from others who need them. God. In fact, you are unshotted. You present a problem to yourself, to your family, and those whom you work, he said. It seems like the same argument for seatbelt laws. You remember the seatbelt law argument? Well, we have to mandate a federal, or at least a statewide, I guess it was statewide. We have to mandate that you wear your seatbelt because, if you get in an accident, then you got to go to the hospital. And if you don't have insurance, then people have to pay for that. The taxpayers have to pay for that. All this shit. And I'm like, well, I'm fucking insured. So why should I have to? What business is it of yours if I kill myself? If I decide not to click it? Now, that's just a $10, well, it was $10 revenue at the time. I haven't been ticketed for not wearing a seatbelt in a few years, but last time I got ticketed, well, in Arizona, it was $10. In Wisconsin, I believe it was like $50, and that was quite a few years ago. It was probably his son-in-law working with the deep state. Ooh, there's a conspiracy theory. And the banks. I have no idea. I really never delved into his son-in-law that much. I know a little bit. I mean, I know he has one. I know married to Ivanka, and I know he's somebody important. I forget his name off the top of my head, though. And I really don't know why he's anything other than married to a Trump. Hey, Gerald, welcome back. My body, my choice. Yeah. Well, I read a right wing or left wing article about that. How they said that getting our mandates are constitutional because I forget reasons why, but they said you can't use the "my body, my choice" because that was the same argument for abortions, and the Supreme Court already ruled on that. Well, I'll tell you what, the Supreme Court just ruled that, what was it? The Supreme Court ruled that the CDC does not have the power to make it mandatory for people to get the sniffle shot, right? The CDC is making laws now, which that's not an organization that can make laws. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, you can't do that. And you know what Biden said? What are they going to do? What's the Supreme Court going to do? They can't do shit. We have all the... Well, he didn't say we have all the guns, but it's basically what it is. What are they going to do about it? What is the Supreme Court going to do? Ain't nothing they're going to do. We're going to go ahead and do it anyway. White House threatens... Did I already do that one? Yeah, I already did. All right. Yep. DeSantis. Biden is doing everything the left accused Trump of wanting to do. It was funny, though. I had a video I played a day or two ago that I want to kind of put into my intro, and I forgot to do it. I'm going to have to find it. but it's a whole bunch of politicians. You had Kamala Harris, you had Biden, I believe Nancy Pelosi was in there as well, all saying that they would not take the shot because it was rushed. And if Donald Trump said that they should take it, they're not going to take it. And then as soon as they get in office, look at what they're doing now. It's the same damn shot that Trump put together. Why are they so encouraged about it now? DeSantis, Florida will pay for private school if districts force kids to wear masks. I love that. I absolutely love that. I've never really considered moving to Florida, but I love this. And I've liked a lot of other things Florida has done. We haven't made up our mind yet. So, I mean, that one just kind of got low. It's low on the list, but it just peaked up. There's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't want to move to Florida, but what's up, Mule? What? Reb made a video. No, I did not. Hold up one damn second. I'm actually surprised you made a video too. And I've been checking my subscriptions today. Somewhat. I don't know. Let me just make sure. Pre-Dawn. Ooh, Pre-Dawn even did a video today. I gotta unsubscribe to some people, man. I got way too many people I'm subscribed to. There we go. 20-year anniversary. Ooh. Hold up. We'll do that one. And then Reb did one too. War Drums Network, you mean? Oh my goodness. I think that's the most I've seen of his face in a while. All right, cool. We got him. 20-year anniversary of what?
How's it going, everybody? So,
Let's pull up.
Friday, August 6th, right? 2021.
Oh, 20-year anniversary of September 11th. Yeah.
Some of you, probably none of you, but some of you,
What were you doing? You might be talking about it, though.
weren't adults on 9/11, 2001. And a lot of you who weren't
Wouldn't it be
adults
anything
ended
different?
up going over and serving in the wars that 9/11, 2001 brought about.
Funny, some of the
Now,
kids
20
fighting
years later,
in Afghanistan weren't even born.
After those wars have gone the way
9/11.
of Vietnam,
Isn't that crazy? They weren't even born for a war that they're in.
I think it would be a good time to reflect on a few things. First of all, was the blood and treasure worth it?
Oh, thank you.
Second of all,
I need to do VRs.
was
I
your
really do. I've been
freedoms
thinking about it too.
worth it? Right?
And just yesterday, I was talking about how this whole thing with the sniffles is the same thing that happened after 9/11. You remember us all talking about, oh, we're gonna remember the day, before 9/11 and how the world changed, and it did. We lost a lot of freedoms, and I actually called this over on I think the Morning Muster with Irish. As soon as this popped off, we were talking about this is the medical 9/11. Nothing's ever going to be the same. And look at, I mean, if you actually had to get a sniffle shot certificate imprinted on your body, on your forehead or on your hand, this would be the freaking mark of the beast. 100%. Can't buy, can't sell, can't work, can't travel. It's ticking all the fucking boxes. The only thing it doesn't tick is an actual visual mark to us, which not saying that there isn't an invisible mark. The Bible doesn't make clear if that mark is visible to us or if it's only visible to somebody else. Heading home but listening. All right, Riddle, be safe. You don't have to listen. Just turn me off and get home safe. Crazy out there today.
I think this is a good conversation starter. And I'm going to ask anybody who sees this video to respond to this video
Oh, there you go.
with a response video on your thoughts. And you
Might
can just
actually
put
do
it
a
down
separate
below
video.
now. You can just put the whole link to the video down in the comment section
I'm
below.
gonna actually do an actual
Right? Anybody who plays the YouTube game knows the YouTube game. I haven't been monetized in years, so cussing on here doesn't matter. But I noticed that they started shutting down some channels that aren't putting in child warnings if you start cussing or, doing whatever. I don't even know. I haven't. I know one day I'm going to get cut from this, just like I got cut from Facebook, just like I got cut from Twitter, just like I get cut from
you got booted
whatever,
off Twitter?
wherever you used
Luckily,
to speak
I
your
only
mind.
use it to
Okay,
announce
and
if
don't
I'm gonna
think
miss
if
a
you went
show or
into
something.
if you brought a soapbox to your town square and started telling the truth, that they wouldn't shut that down too. You'd have to get a permit. You'd have to ask permission. Blah blah yada yada.
You gotta love
yada.
asking the government for permission to do
So here we are.
your amendment. I don't know the first as well as I know the second. Sue me. I don't have this shit memorized. But does it say in order to peacefully protest the government that you need a permit? That you need to pay a little fee? Same thing with the second, right? You gotta go through a background check, or you gotta get a CCW, or it's just not enough. We gotta put money on it. However, be careful with voting. I mean, we couldn't have you show ID. I mean, that would be unconstitutional to show ID for a constitutional right like voting. Oh, you can't show an ID for voting, but you have to show one in order to get the permit to peacefully protest your government. You have to get one. You have to show one in order to get a background check done on your firearm. When the cop is kicking down your door, violating your Fourth Amendment, I'm sure he already knows your name, but if he don't, he's going to ask for your ID.
20 years later.
Wait. I would comment in the comments, but I am shadow banned by YouTube. I'm just glad I can comment in the chat. Wow, I did not know that. Interesting. Well, if you're ever banned off of YouTube, we are also on DLive, which DLive is a nice backup to have. And I haven't had any censorship issues with DLive.
Yada, yada, yada. So here we are, 20 years later.
I thought about 20 years later. What would 20 years later
And
on 9/11? I'm like,
those
man,
of you who
20
were
years from
adults then,
now.
I was 35, right? So I was full bore, adult, fucking kids. Just had a new one that year.
35.
Right? Just had my daughter turned 20.
I guess I was 26.
June 6th this year. And she was born on June 6th,
Yeah, I was 26.
2001. Right?
Damn, 26. 500
At the time,
25 pounds, 26.
I owned a business. I was a bar owner, a legit bar owner, not a Green Dragon Tavern, but it was pretty much run very similarly, right? So there were legal and illegal things going on in my bar. Some of the illegal things I was doing, right? So I don't own the bar no more. Bankruptcy sucks. Pay your taxes, I guess, if you're going to be living in the quote-unquote law-abiding citizen world. Pay your taxes, right? If you're not going to live in the quote-unquote law-abiding citizen world, then you understand the repercussions, which I do, always have, always will.
Making a shirt about
right, and I accept the repercussions for my actions. My actions. My actions. You understand?
You follow the law, I'll follow
So whatever I do, it's my fault. But I'd like to know, those of you who've been around, those of you who served in those wars, those of you who've watched the degeneration of our nation, I'd like to hear your responses. Now, in some ways, I'll tell you what, at least here where I live, where I moved back to not too long after 9/11, all right, I stayed another couple of years, and my bar was a lot of cops, a lot of firemen. They never drank. They never paid for a drink while they were there. That was part of my policy. My brother-in-law, he was firefighter that day down there and spent the next year trying to clean that shit up, find bodies.
So you were actually
a
in
guy
New York
I went
at
to
the
school
time?
with.
Yeah.
Grade school, junior high, high school. He was a firefighter, Dennis Mulligan. God rest his soul. I'm keeping your memory alive, brother. He was a firefighter. Went up in those fucking towers, never came down but in ashes. I grew up watching those fucking towers being built. My dad did the roofs on them, and I, as a young scruff, was a messenger, bonded, down in Wall Street, and I used to have to run up and down the Trade Center every day for about a year in my part of my misspent youth. And being a bonded messenger, which was great, I was also then a bonded dealer, right? Because Wall Street's always been a run with drugs. It will always be a run with drugs. It just is what it is. Anyway, so here, 20 years on. While a lot of American life hasn't changed, especially out the more rural you get, society has changed. Society has changed a lot. I'd like to know what you guys think about the societal changes we've been dealing with over the past 20 years. And in the societal changes, do you think you gained anything in your freedom? I'll tell you this, surprisingly though, there is one thing we have gained in that 20 years.
I'd like to know this freedom that we gained because I have no idea.
And that was allowing the assault weapons bill to sunset, and thereby bringing so many people into the fold of understanding that your protection is dependent upon you. And one of the greatest tools to protect yourself are arms, whatever those arms be. And in the Second Amendment, you do have, it gives you, it recognizes, it doesn't give you shit. It recognizes the fact that you as a human being have the right to self-protection and to use arms to do so. Whatever.
All right. So on 9/11, I had just had a daughter. My daughter was about 6 months old at the time. And I remember being asleep. We were in Wisconsin. I think I already said that, Wisconsin. And, I woke up and I think it was shortly after the second plane hit. And I remember just sitting there watching that all day enthralled, like, I can't believe this shit is happening. Right? I was pissed. I was like, this fucking Pearl Harbor, man, we're gonna go fucking blow your asses up. Now, I haven't, I wasn't super aware of shit, awake, however you want to call it. Still believe that John McCain was a decent politician from Arizona, because I grew up in Arizona. And it was a long time after that. I think it was like 2011. I think that I started thinking a little bit more critically. I mean, it wasn't like overnight or nothing, but starting going down rabbit holes and stuff like that. Start talking to people like Mule who will kickstart all the shit that you don't know. As far as the freedoms, I did not have any firearms when the sunset of the assault weapon ban did that, or when that happened. So I didn't jump into gun ownership until I was probably 2011. I think it was 2011. And what kicked that off was when I was a kid, my dad worked for Ruger in Prescott, Arizona. And he would get guns from working there after 6 months, or I think it was 9 months. He got a 22 pistol, and then, a few years, every little once in a while, they give you a free gun, which was kind of nice. And we had guns before that, mostly 22s. And my dad, I think, had a shotgun and stuff like that, but nothing too big, I don't think. Anyway, we'd go shooting, but it was like maybe once every year, maybe. Wasn't a big thing, right? So I grew up around guns, but not all the time and not different kinds of guns. In fact, my dad might be a FUD. I don't even know. He's dead now. But anyway, we moved back to Arizona because we were living in Wisconsin. We moved back to Arizona because my dad's health was in bad shape and didn't seem like he was going to make it. And I didn't want to be in Wisconsin anyway. I had full custody of my daughter. I had no ties to Wisconsin. I said, hey, the jobs are better down in Arizona than they are here in Fond du Lac. Fond du Lac was a small town in Wisconsin. We weren't making any money. It was paycheck to paycheck. Let's just load up the Mustang with every fucking thing we have that we can, and let's just go down there and we'll stay in his extra room while we help him out and stuff like that. So we did that. We were basically his in-home caregivers, right? And did a really good job, in my opinion. I think we helped him out a lot, and he was turning it around, and it looked like it might, he might get better. But his wife was mental, and when I mean mental, I mean she seriously had something mentally wrong with her. She got all upset one time because supposedly we had eaten some food. I don't remember if we ate it or not, and it doesn't really fucking matter because we would bring our own food into the house many times, and they were more than welcome to any of it, right? We told them that. But because maybe we thought we were welcome to some of their food too, since we're adding food to the refrigerator, she didn't like that. She took offense to that, and it ate at her, and eventually there was a big fight, and I said some things, and my dad agreed with what I said, which really pissed her off. Anyway, we got kicked out of there. And shortly after that, he had to go into in-hospice care because she couldn't take care of him. She's mental. She had the mentality of a child, if you ask me. Anyway, he was like wanting to give me some of his guns. Okay. I was like, okay, cool. They're nothing special. It was like a Ruger 44 Magnum. That was his Dirty Harry gun because he loved Dirty Harry. And then he had a 9mm little pistol or whatever. Nothing real big, nothing real special. But special to me, my dad's guns, right? Same thing with his truck. I wanted that truck. It was like a 78 Ford flatbed. And me and him worked on that when I was a kid. The truck's worth like $500. But I wanted it, and I wanted those guns. And, he didn't do a will. He just told her what he wanted me to have. She didn't give a shit. Wasn't in a will. I offered to buy them for cash. Won't even do that. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get a gun. And I was already on YouTube. So where do you go? Where do you go? I'm a big time YouTuber. I was like 8,000 subscribers. And so I go on YouTube and I start looking at, different guns and stuff. And I think I bought my first gun. It was a Ruger P95. And then shortly after that, I'm going on YouTube and looking at it because I didn't do much research before I bought that. I went into the store. Two people were talking about this Ruger P95. They were saying great things about it. I'm like, hey, I like Ruger. My dad worked for Ruger, So let me get that. That thing was wide as shit. I never even got a concealed holster for it. And then I started going down the rabbit hole and looking at other guns. And back then, every damn pistol video is a Glock video. Glock. So I got a Glock 17. That was my first Glock that I ever got. Anyway, because of that is the reason why I went down that rabbit hole. And that rabbit hole led me down to being awake rabbit hole. And yeah, there's that. Dang, that's messed up. Yeah, I know, man. I'm still pissed to this day over that. Like, that would have been awesome. But at the same time, it is what it is. I got my first rifle when I was 8, which was kind of unusual, I guess. Yeah, that's unusual. I did get a BB gun, not when I was 8. It was much older. I think I was like 13, 14 years old. And they were pissed because I was shooting it in the house and they had real wood panels on the wall. And when you miss the target that you're aiming at and you hit that wooden wall with a BB, it leaves a little dent and a mark. And so there was dents and marks all over the fucking place. They never bought me anything like that. And I almost shot my dad once. So there's that. Accidentally. And I didn't remember why this fight started. I remembered we had a fight. We went up to Oregon to get a couple Nash Ramblers. Right, we were getting a couple beaten up old 50s Nash Ramblers, and on the way up, we were having a great time, father-son bonding and stuff, because we've always had an on-again, off-again shit. But all the way up there, we're having a great time. I'm like, my dad, my son, all this shit. And then all I remembered was we had some sort of argument, and he was pissed. Like the most pissed he had ever been at me in his life. And he wanted to beat the living shit out of me. And in fact, he even chased me around the parking lot a while. And I called my mom, and my mom was going to call, trying to do whatever she was going to do. And I was like, you better not hit me, you motherfucker. When I go to the hospital, I'm going to say exactly who did this. You're going to go to jail. You're going to be in trouble. He's like, you ain't going to no hospital. I was like, fuck, I'm running. So years later, when we're down there taking care of him, right, I'm like, I remember us being pissed. I remember us doing all this shit. That's old water news. I don't give a shit now. But do you remember why it started? He's like, yes, I do. You know that truck out there, referencing the truck that I was supposed to get, because we took that up there. That's the truck we took up there. And he told me the story of what happened, what I had done. And as soon as he said it, the memory came back, right? And basically what it is, we had his 22 pistol that he got from Ruger. And he's underneath the truck in the engine area or whatever, you know, under the engine. I don't know what he was doing down there, but something was wrong. He's checking some shit. While he's out and I'm in the truck all by myself, I see a gun on the seat. I want to play with it. And so apparently I was playing with it and it went off and it shot down towards the floorboard. Yeah, he was pissed. Anyway, he said he never found that bullet for a long time until just recently. And then he showed me where the bullet hole was and all that shit. I'm like, fuck, I want that truck. Never got that truck. Let's see. Oh man, I've heard parents like that. Yeah. Has a pluses and minuses, you might imagine. My parents don't give a fuck about anything except straight A's. I got my first gun on my 16th birthday. Present was a single shot 12 gauge. And Christmas that year, I got a 22 mag. Yeah, everybody, if you've got a firearm, what was the first firearm that you owned? And then what's the first firearm you bought? Now, mine are both the same, and that's that Ruger P95, because nobody ever gave me a gun. After the BB gun, nobody ever gave me a gun. I mean, I was a dumb kid. I remember also another time that gun incident with the truck is not the only one. There was another time my parents weren't at home and I was at home alone, and we had wooden floors with a carpet over top, right? And I got an old tennis shoe I don't wear much anymore. I'm like, I want to catch a bullet. So in the house, I put my sneaker on the floor and shot it with a 22 long rifle from a Marlin rifle. All I ended up with is a hole in my shoe and a hole in the carpet. Luckily, they never found that out. I told my dad about that later after he had reminded me about the story of the gun in the truck. So obviously, don't go to the range with me. And anybody who's shot with me, miracle, you're alive. That's a nice seat set. My parents gave brothers guns and gifts, but they never gave me any real guns. I had a BB gun and a pellet gun pistol. My dad and brother let me use their guns whenever I wanted. First one I got was a 30-30 Marlin. Bro. Bought or got? I think 30-30. That ain't no joke. Never really wanted to. Never. I need to run. All right. See you later, James. Thanks for stopping by. First gun I bought was a Winchester 30-30. Y'all buying some big ass guns. All right, let's finish the video.
Whatever those arms may be, right? Because it doesn't fucking specifically say you have the right to keep and bear guns. Because there's more than just guns as arms. One of the reasons why I'm not a big NFA fan.
Yeah. But when you start talking about arms as more than just guns, then you get the people who are like, what are you talking about? You think you need nuclear weapons?
Ever. Anyway, so that's the one thing I can add to and say that we are in a better spot than we were 20 years ago. America's better armed, the citizenry. That keeps the government more afraid of us, which is why they constantly fight against Americans being armed. And we may be on the beginnings of an upswing going the other way, which can be just as dangerous. But as of right now, 2021, August 6th, how free do you think we are?
Less free than
How do those vets feel about serving in those wars? And on a last note, last thing I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask you this looking at you. What do you think's coming next? What do you think they're going to do or allow to happen
shot.
next to be able to gain more control? We talk about 9/11, right? 3,000 and change died on 9/11. The fact that you're watched and surveilled and tracked and all your thoughts and all the societal changes and all shit that we're talking about over the past 20 years that have happened. Those 3,000 lives, well, I guess 3,000 is the number of our freedom. Even though some of them are my friends. I don't think it's right. But what do you think? Do a video response. I will watch and comment on your video if you decide to make it. If you decide to accept this little challenge. What do you think?
I think it's a downward slope that's not always going downwards, right? It's kind of like the stock market graph. It's just kind of doing this. And it'll continue to do that until enough people stand up and say no. And that's why they will not mandate sniffle shots. They just won't. They'll get private companies to do it. And you won't be able to have that job. And if you don't have that job, how are you going to pay that mortgage? You don't want to be homeless, do you? What about your kids? Your kids. Your kid wants to go in the military? Well, he's going to have that shot. They don't allow you to go in the military anymore without that shot. It's going to be impossible. It's going to be damn hard to do. All right. Reb did a nice short video. 2021 channel update. Best of times, worst of times. All right. Let me give that a big old fat thumbs up. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to leave a like. All right. Let's watch.
Hey, how y'all doing? Thought I would do a little quick update. Since I still have
I think Rev is going to be trying out for the ZZ Top opening. You know, the open spot in ZZ Top. He's got that beard nicely trimmed, bro.
channel, and I still have a voice. Best of times, worst of times, folks.
Yep.
Boy.
I know
Yeah,
what I'm
all
doing
the
on
stuff we were
Saturday. I'm
talking
making
about
video
15
responses.
plus years ago. It's all right here and now. That's all right, though. Imagine this, though. A vax that is so safe that they got to threaten you to take it. Or a pandemic so deadly,
Yep.
you got to be tested for it. That's where we're at. But that's all right. You know what? I'd rather have a full frontal assault than a slow kill. Right? But anyway, this is just a little update.
Reminds me I need
And,
to contact him.
You know, everybody has a choice to make. And the choice that I've made for me and mine is to get uncomfortable, to leave behind comfortable
Yeah, I don't doubt
situation
it. He's got a lot of gray.
and get uncomfortable.
Almost looks like he got his
I'm not
hair
going to go
dyed.
into too much detail.
Maybe
but,
that's why he's in the shadows.
I
He
hope
doesn't
you
want to
all-
show that he's gotten his, his
You know,
beard
if you're
dyed.
possibly on the fence, you understand that this is where we are. We have soapbox. We have the judicial box.
The 3
we
boxes, the
have
4 boxes, I
the
think.
ballot box.
Yeah.
We have the cartridge box.
I think he died.
I think you know where we're at. Don't be fearful. I would rather have this happen now than for our grandkids or our children. It needs to happen. So,
Is this one of these videos
but
that I
with
need to
that being
record
said,
because they're
I
going to
hope you all are
delete soon?
doing well. But you know, if you're new to this and you're just trying to navigate this and you come across this, listen, you're not alone. You're not crazy. This is really happening. And yes, the founding fathers are rolling over in their grave. And yes, all the people that laid down their lives
Can you imagine that?
for our liberties and freedoms are rolling over in their
People
graves.
during the
And
Revolutionary
it's up to
War.
us.
People during the Revolutionary War. All right, they had families. They had jobs. They had land. They had businesses. They had shit to lose. The people who signed the Declaration of Independence basically putting their name on the hit list. That's basically like, for example purposes only, that is like a group of us all signing a big old letter saying, fuck you, Biden, we're coming to take your head. That's basically what it was. If any one of them got caught, they were dead. And a lot of them did die. Those people died to get freedom, right? Then you have the Civil War. However you feel on that, I have my own opinions on that as well, you know, personally, but we won't get into all that. But once again, people fighting for what they believe in on either side, trying to keep America together or trying to get away from a place that doesn't represent them anymore, right? They want freedom. And then somehow we were a separatist nation and then found out that war is profitable and haven't hardly been not in a war ever since the 1900s. Shit, that's why we got out of the Great Depression. What gets you out of a depression better than a war, right? I believe it actually probably was World War II that really made it so that we were never not in a war. It just made us too rich.
It's up to us to get uncomfortable. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but we will get through this. And I hope you all are doing well. And I figured, well, shoot,
Spoiler alert, it gets
I'll just
worse.
do a little update video while we still have the ability to do so. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen next week or the month after. But now is not the time to be meek and weak and comfortable. So, with that being said, tough decisions. Make sure that you're surrounded by the right people.
Yeah,
make sure you're making the right decisions.
Everywhere.
Because believe it or not, at the end of the day, that's all that's going to matter. We'll get through this together. Trust me, we will. And why is this all happening now? It's meant to happen now. And that's all I got to say for now. I will be keep in touch with my channel. I hope this gets to the right people. But remember, everything you say can and will be used against you. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, I'm downloading that right now. Woo. Well, yeah, that's unnerving, but I still think he dyed his beard. Texas governor orders state to study possible child abuse in transgendered surgeries. This could get me in trouble. Oh well, that's funny. Will you even your ass will itch if you don't wash it? Yeah, after a while. But if you ever shave your butt hair, and believe me, I have a butt hawk. If you ever shave that for whatever reason, that itches like a motherfucker, man. When that grows back in, oh, you don't ever want to do that shit. All right, Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered the State Department of Family Protective Services to determine if genital surgery and other measures to change children's gender rose to level of child abuse. Where is this again? Texas. Texas is still doing pretty decent. I mean, they got a lot of work to do, but it's doing pretty decent. The DFPS determination should consider making explicit what is already implicit in the statute. The genitalia mutilation of a child through reassignment surgery is child abuse, said the government's letter to DFPS Commissioner James Masters. Well, we were all up in arms when we learned about how they circumcise girls in, I don't know, the Middle East, right? I don't know which country, or if they're all of them. But I know that a lot of, or at least one of them, has been accused of genital mutilation against girls, removing their bean. We're up in arms over that. In addition, Abbott said that the DFPS should consider the reporting requirements of professionals such as teachers, nurses, and doctors who come in contact with children in dangers of such abuse. He said the state could make exceptions for any surgery deemed medically necessary due to the verifiable sex development disorders. So if you're growing a third penis, maybe. I don't know. As noted in the governor's letter, female genital mutilation is already illegal in Texas under the state law and was long considered illegal under a federal law passed in 96 to combat the practice. In 2018, a federal court found the law unconstitutional. Since then, Congress has failed to pass follow-up legislation to remedy the court's decision. Of course, it was 2018. However, according to the American Constitution Society, 39 states has outlawed the practice as of 2019. Well, that's not bad. Critics of the Texas governor's efforts say that few doctors will perform gender reassignment surgery on minors. Still, Boston Children's Hospital, which is a Harvard Medical School teaching hospital, will do breast augmentation on children as young as 15 to reverse gender and vaginoplasty for 17-year-olds for the same purpose, according to their website. So legislators around, and it's funny that they're referring to 15-year-olds and 17-year-olds here as children, but in so many other places, they would be adults. All right, so legislators around the country are arguing that children, even with parents' consent, are too young to make decisions that could last the rest of their life. The solution for children's identification with the opposite sex isn't to poison their bodies with mega doses of the wrong hormones, to chemically or surgically castrate and sterilize them, or to remove healthy breasts and reproductive organs. Representative Fred Deschute, fuck that name, who sponsored a bill in South Dakota to prevent gender reassignment for minors. South Dakota was another one that's high on our list. The solution is compassionate care, and that does not include catastrophically and irreversibly altering their bodies, he said. LOL, butthog. Well, you know, it is what it is. I don't know. I've gone as long as 1 month without a shower in military situations. Like in the hot, were you stationed in like Antarctica? That would be better, right? Can you imagine? I can't even imagine Afghanistan or Iraq. That's got to be almost like Phoenix. Close, right? We get haboobs. I know what a haboob is. I've lived through a few of them, right? 115-degree heat. It's dry heat. Yay! Spritz yourself with a water bottle. A month out there in that? Fuck that shit, man. I feel bad for whoever was next to you. Interesting thing about going for that long without bathing foreskin, at some point you either stop What is this? Forlisket? No. Oh, that's the name. Never mind. Sorry. At some point you either stop smelling or you stop smelling yourself, but it seems like some real physiological changes. Okay, it's almost like bodies adapt. Well, for me, I was young and healthy and I didn't smell. I'm serious. My sweat wouldn't get a smell. It smelled like salt water. My armpits were like that for a long time, and then when I got older and fatter, it changed. But you still wash your face now and then in your helmet and whatnot. All right, cool. All right, let's get through these. I'm running late. Sasky gets a taste of anonymous source leaks with Jill Biden's toxic workplace. Jill Biden has a toxic workplace?
There was a report yesterday in Politico that a senior aide in this White House has been abusive to other colleagues. I know the report was based on anonymous sourcing.
You know, I love anonymous sources.
That's why I almost didn't ask. I feel like you would just say, right. But I'm wondering if, given this administration has its edict to treating people with kindness and respect, is this report, even though anonymously sourced, going to be looked into?
First, I would say that I've worked with now over the last 6 months, even as a newbie into the Biden orbit, the individual named anonymous source. He's been nothing but supportive and communicative, and that's been my experience. You know, it's hard to look into anonymously sourced reports. I'm not aware of that being the intention.
Yeah, the smell doesn't come from the actual sweat. It comes from the bacteria that eats your sweat. The Biden administration and its mainstream media allies face backlash for a hypocritical double standard concerning the credibility of anonymous sources after a damning whistleblower report that was published on Monday in Politico. The report outlined a toxic work environment in the office of the First Lady, Jill Biden, not unlike recent allegations made against Vice President Kamala Harris and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, both fellow Democrats. The brunt of it centered around Anthony Bernal, a Machiavellian top advisor to the First Lady who has been dubbed the enforcer by his colleagues. He has the constitute. What's that word? Constituency of one, and he is very effective on her behalf. Constituency. That's the dumbest word I've ever heard. A Biden. Okay, so he has something of one, and he's very effective on her behalf. Okay, so he's her muscle. A Biden official familiar with the situation told Politico. The problem is that no one who has worked with him trusts him, and that it's not good for him or her. Among the accounts of Bernal's mean streak from anonymous confidants were his unfiltered criticisms of others and tendency to trash talk his colleagues behind their back. Oh, you gotta love that. That had included making staffers cry and then calling them stupid. In meetings, said you can't go around calling a millennial or anybody on the left stupid. That's a trigger word, man. No wonder they started crying. They call me stupid. I bet that would be funny. Although few questioned Bernard's absolute loyalty to the First Lady, his treachery to colleagues and subordinates became so great of a concern that some began to secretly record him. Even if you're his friend, you know he'll talk shit about you, said one staffer who ironically considered himself a friend of Bernard. The report raised questions about about President Joe Biden's early pledge to uphold civility and respect within the White House, including a threat to fire on the spot any staffer who treat another colleague with disrespect or talk down to someone. There's always somebody that's a little too high up to play by those rules. Already, the Democrat administration backed off that policy, instead giving a week suspension to a communications staffer who made an aggressive threat, misogynist comments, and attempted to extort favorable coverage from Politico journalists. The staffer subsequently resigned. But as with the president's pledge of transparency and ethics, the simple workaround for the Biden administration seemed to be an outright refusal to acknowledge the problems, knowing that the response from Secretary Psaki would be more gaslighting. A New York Times reporter admitted that she almost didn't ask it about the Bernard bombshell. Psaki pronounced to the defense of the East Wing tyrant on Tuesday, claiming she had worked closely with him and never noticed anything unusual. He's been nothing but supportive and communicative, and it's been my experience. That's been my experience, she claimed. She also deflected the questions by attacking the credibility of the article, given its reliance on anonymous sources. Well, if they've been recording him, they should have recordings. You know, it's hard to look at reports from anonymous sources, she claimed. We already heard all that. Left-wing reporters sheepishly agreed with Psaki, whose vindictive media browbeating has suggested that the toxic culture at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is not limited to Bernard. What, she's the one swinging her dick around? However, the reaction led some... I don't give a shit. I'm done. Ouch, your feelings. Abuse shouldn't be used as a test for toughness. No, I agree. I just find it funny that the double standards. The double standards are always great. It's hilarious if you just like that kind of comedy, and I appreciate that kind of comedy. Teacher union sues mom to block public records requests on CRT, critical race theory, and gender ideology. The largest teachers union in the United States sued a Rhode Island mother on Monday and again on Thursday because she seeks more than 200 records about critical race theory and gender ideology at her child's school. Wow. The National Education Association Rhode Island claims in the lawsuit filed on Monday that Nicole Solas requested too many documents and that the item she wants cannot be given without violating teacher privacy, Fox News reported. We are asking the court to conduct a balancing test to determine whether our members' privacy rights outweigh the public interest, said NEAR Deputy Director Jennifer We believe they do, and that those records should either not be disclosed or should be redacted accordingly. Solus submitted a public records request, so none of the documents should contain private information about teachers, although such requests can cover things like email sent from teachers' work accounts. It would be the responsibility of the public employees not to transmit potentially sensitive information using their work-owned accounts and devices. William Jacobson, a law professor at Cornell University, said the lawsuit made little sense on its face. The unions purport to be protecting their members' non-public documentation or documents and information, but the public records law only applies to public records as defined under the statute, he said. Another lawsuit filed on Thursday, the teachers union asked the court to let them ignore Solus's records request while the case proceeds. Solus has tweeted about both lawsuits. I just got served with a lawsuit from the teacher union near throwing down the gauntlet. Today, the teachers union filed another lawsuit against me, this time a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction. Well, teacher unions bullying moms an everyday thing now. The second complaint came in response to the case increased publicity. Neri told the court that teachers who are identifiable and have engaged in discussion about things like critical race theory will then be subjected to a teacher harassment by national conservative groups opposed to critical race theory. Even if the court rules to release the public documents, the union still requests that the court allow to redact information which may lead to the identity of such teachers. The National Education Association lawsuit reflects its commitment to battle anti-CRT rhetoric and promote far-left racial theories. The NEA has promised to research the organizations attacking educators doing anti-racist work and or use the research already done and put together a list of resources and recommendations for state affiliates, local and individual educators to utilize when they are attacked. Solus became concerned about her kindergarten-age daughter attendance at public school in the South Kingston School District when the elementary school principal told the teachers do not call students boys or girls. When Solus further pressed the principal, she was told that it is common practice, according to her op-ed in Legal Insurance Insurrection. Solar could not view her child's kindergarten curriculum even after contacting the principal. Now, that's bullshit. You should at least have all the books and have exactly, yeah. Why wouldn't you allow the parents to have that? Unless you're doing some shady shit. So she couldn't get that. After contacting the principal and the school committee and the superintendent, the director of curriculum, and even the legal department at Rhode Island Department of Education, Solus gained national attention by speaking at the South Kingston School Committee meeting on June 2nd, Legal Insurrection reported. I had questions about her education, and you didn't answer them, she said. You told me to submit public record requests to answer my questions, he continued. I did what you told me, and now you're holding a public meeting to discuss suing me for doing what you told me to do. In response to public records requests, the committee held a meeting to discuss filing litigation against Nicole Solus to challenge the filing over 160 APRA requests. Wow. I hope we hear more about her. I'm actually going to keep this tab open. I usually close all the tabs. I'm going to keep this one open. I'm going to look into her a little bit more. And lastly, and I'm not even going to read it all because we're way over schedule. But good news, everybody. I'm ending it with a good thing. Governor Newsom of California is losing in the polls by 11 points. I will find out who's the leader. Survey USA and San Diego Tribune found that 51% of Californians want Newsom removed. Ooh. Okay, so Gavin Newsom received alarming news on Wednesday about his campaign to defeat a recall election. California wants him removed by an 11-point margin. Oh, according to state rules, if Newsom gets yada yada, yeah. Okay, so is this a vote? Is this a vote just yay or nay? Because I thought that was the recall. According to state rules, if Newsom fails to get an outright majority of the vote, he will be recalled, even if he receives the largest plurality. Ooh. Okay, so everybody's running. if there's 15 people running and he gets 51, or if he gets 49% of the vote and they all split the rest of it, he still gets outed. Oh, that's not good for him. And the next highest candidate will become governor. The results have shifted by more than 20 points since May, when a survey, USA San Diego Tribune, found that 36% of Californians backed the recall, while 47% opposed it. Okay, I guess I am reading it. The survey methodology favors Newsom more than other mainstream polls because it did not weigh responses from likely voters. Okay, well, who gives a shit? Sharp disparity in results when using these two methods. Californians opposed Newsom recall by more than 10 points, but responses from likely voters resulted in a statistical tie. Polls weighed towards likely voters tend to produce more accurate results in recall elections because Republicans feel motivated to remove Newsom from office, while Democrats have reported little desire to vote to retain him. Might not vote against him, but I ain't going to go to the poll to vote for him. Polls of the general population also might include ineligible voters, which I don't give a fuck. All right. Well, there you go. Governor Gavin Newsom, governor for much longer. Hey, what's up, Anonymous? How you doing? Sorry, I just saw you in here now. I'm gonna, let's see. Ooh, I'm missing a lot. You guys were blowing me up. Marine Grunt. Oh, boy, you guys really blow me up. Thank you very much for all your comments. Main Grunt, live and thrive in abusive situations almost 24/7. Rough skin makes your life easier. Sticks and stones may break. Yeah, nobody says that anymore. Yeah, I grew up on that shit too. And that's why I thought this shit would never happen. I remember back in like 2000 seeing a parent of kids on TV, in real life even, of them trying to talk it out with their child. Right? Let's have a conversation of why you're in trouble. And then go take a time out, Tommy. Like, are you kidding me? This kid is going to not be ready for the world. He's going to grow up thinking that he's, something special. He got his participation trophy even. And when he gets to the real world, the real world's going to eat him up. You know what the real world did? The real world said, oh, I'm sorry. Let's have some diversity training. And I'll say we're sorry to Tommy. Sorry, Tommy, we didn't mean it. We'll try better. Are you fucking kidding me? Try that shit in 99. You would have been out on your ass so fucking fast. Either the military is a different situation, but even then it can get out of line. What's the drills aren't allowed to punch or kick people anymore? Yeah, like Full Metal Jacket, Full Metal Jacket. If that actually happened, and I'm sure it did happen like that, yeah, I wouldn't have went. I didn't go anyway. I didn't go. I wasn't allowed. I wanted to. I was just going to comment that I wouldn't expect abuse to happen during combat training because the enemy don't give a fuck about your feelings, sweetheart. I would take a punch over being made to pass out on the quarterdeck doing 8-count bodybuilders. That's me. You can also wind up turning men into sadistic animals, and that's a bad. Full Metal Jacket. I mean, I learned a lot from that movie. We got 22 vets a day committing suicide. Yeah. Now, I don't think I've ever asked this of any of my military friends. It's one of these weird questions, right? You don't know how to ask it, but I have questions. So if it's an offensive question, I apologize. It's not my intent, but I'm curious. What's the largest person? Do we know what's the main reason vets commit suicide? Is it because of PTSD? Is it because they don't find a job when they come back and we see some vets out on the streets homeless and shit? Or is it mostly just PTSD? Or did they get experimented on? You know what I mean? Let's see. That's why above all Marines protect each other. No Marine got permanently hurt while I was in, but we did get our asses checked when needed. Also, never let anyone take anything too far. Outside of war and training, nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt from roughhousing. Roughhousing and hazing. I don't mind roughhousing. Hazing, I mean, I've been bullied my whole life, right? At the same time, I'd stand up for those bullies' rights to bully you. As long as you're not laying hands, and they laid hands, too. But as long as you're not laying hands, sticks and stones, bitch. Well, I go to the VA sometimes, so I hear some things about what the problems are. We have also allowed to go outside if we both choose we want to handle things like men, but when it was over, it was over. Yeah. Different times that, yeah. I don't know if you can do that shit now. A lot of it's society that's not supportive, like in jobs, relationships, some of it's PTSD related, which causes yeah, the PTSD, if it's just straight PSTD, that's difficult. You definitely need to have a good network of friends. I don't have PTSD, but I've had depression and I've had suicidal thoughts, right? I know that dark place, at least for that part. Not for the same reasons, but for my reason. When you put a gun and you're just like, it would, playing with that safety just a little bit, playing with that safety a little bit. That's a dangerous place, and the best way out of it is your brothers or your good friends. Doing some shit with them. I think that's one of the reasons why I really support Rally Point Irish too. Right? We need more places like that. I know some of the places, there are some places like that in other areas, but we need more of that shit. And if my $10, goes to that and it never happens, so what? All right? So what? I've wasted $10 in stripper booties. Okay? I got less out of that than the hope and the dream that might come out of Rally Point Irish, if you know what I'm saying. That could be something. The stripper, I don't even remember what she looked like. Right? She's probably got kids now. I haven't been to a strip club in years. Yeah, PTSD, it comes in waves. Family is my rock. I would imagine so. Definitely of things that you can do with people, keeping your mind, keeping yourself busy, keep your mind not dwelling on shit. Let's see, I'm sorry to hear that. Anonymous, strong, busy hobbies help. Yep. A lot of people in this world have no friends. I mean, it's sad. It is. It is. Do you? So you know how debilitating it can be? Yeah. Yeah. It was recent, even. I mean, I've struggled with it all my life. It comes and it goes. It depends on what's going on. This last one that I had was, I want to say, a little over a year ago, right? It was before the morning muster. And I don't know if you guys watch the morning muster, but that's my good friend Irish USMC vet, right? Me and him, I like that. That guy is my friend. He's my brother. But he contacts me. Well, he contacted me out of the blue, like, hey, would you like to do this thing called the morning muster on my channel? I'm like, sure, that's fine. Before that, though, I've been dealing with the fact that I got diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension. And we're already talking about all the causes down in the description. So please open the descriptions of this video and follow along. All right. So we have the pH association. That's pulmonary hypertension. That's high blood pressure of the right side of your heart, not the left. This one is caused by a pressure in your lungs. Right? There's sometimes they find a blood clot in your lung and they're like, oh, that's the reason why you have this. And they pull that out and you're fine. So they have ones that they can fix when they can see the absolute problem that's causing that improper pressure in your lungs. They can't in me. They don't even know what caused it. It could have been hereditary. I don't know. It could have been from smoking. I don't know. Who knows what it was from? But I have it. And the kind that you can't fix is the kind that you die from. So at this point, I'm looking on Google and I'm seeing that I only got 5 years. That people with pulmonary hypertension die within 5 years of diagnosis. I'm like, right. And then I talked to my doctor, and since then, they, okay. I'm not dying in 5 years, hopefully. But that's what I thought at the time, right? Later on, talking to my doctor some more, that is what people died without getting medication, supposedly, or maybe the old medication. I don't know, but according to her, this new medication, or the medication that I'm on currently, people are living up to 20 years. with it, right? And I'm thinking, okay, 20 years, I'd be 66 years old. That ain't too bad. So I decided to lose the weight as well. But once you get to a point, it only gets worse, right? Basically, eventually, I won't be able to breathe at all, and that's how I'll go out, and that's a horrible way to go out. So I'm in this deep, dark place, and then out of the blue, my good friend Irish contacts me and wants to do the morning muster. And every day, every morning, I'm waking up early, which means I have to go to bed at a decent hour because I was staying up late, so I'd be by myself, in a quieter environment. And now I have to go to bed with the wife. I have to wake up with the wife just so they can be on the morning muster to be with my friend who then got me out of that shit. Right? And that's the latest one. But I've dealt with depression for years. I feel like I lost my family. I felt betrayed when I got out for private reasons. I felt it was chasing a rush. I was self-destructive. I was actively waiting for help. Damn, dude. Finally, the VA helped, but only after the court was involved. I don't hear many good things from the VA, so I'm glad you got what you needed, bro. Yeah, well, you're not alone. Anyone is freaking weird and getting a sympathetic nervous system reaction or just comes over involuntarily. 8 years of no proper help, and I was trying to get it. Yeah, that's common. Yeah, the VA's shit. The VA is one of the reasons I contribute my dad passing. My dad was also stupid. He married that woman. Like, why? She's nuts. She must have been great. You know what I'm saying? She must have been great at some time. That was a crazy woman. All right. So those are the two links, right? We have the pH association. That's one that's near to dear to my heart. If you want, it's a very rare disease. Very few people get it. Nobody's really looking for a cure besides pH association, as far as I'm aware. We have the projectrecover.org. That's an organization that goes out and looks for lost service members and returns the remains to their families. We have the GOA, the Gun Owners of America, who are fighting for your gun rights in court. Hopefully they'll do well. I think they've been doing okay. We also have Rally Point Irish. As I was talking about, my good friend Irish USMC vet is got a GoFundMe set up right now, where he's trying to raise money to set up a location in Tennessee where vets can stay room and board free while learning new skills like farming, blacksmithing, gunsmithing, 3D printing. I mean, there's a long list. Irish is pretty well versed in a lot of things. And if you're nervous about it, I don't know what to tell you, man. You got to do what you think is right with your money. If you're concerned about, his GoFundMe page, personally, I've spent $10 on worse things many times in my life, and as I've already said, if it never happens and I've donated to it, I will have at least donated to something that I believed in and I was hoping to see succeed. And if it does succeed, then that's even better. So consider doing that. We give 50% of all donations to this channel straight over to Rally Point Irish. So you can either go, if you're wanting to donate, please don't feel obligated. If you wanted to do that though, you could either go over to his GoFundMe or donate here. There's plenty of ways to donate down below. All the places to follow me. I got a Poison Stinger 2 channel. I'm live on DLive currently. I do have a Twitter, but I only tweet when I have a problem with YouTube. And then the biggest one that I always recommend is my Discord. That's where we can have private conversations, or we also have group conversations. There's video chatting there. If we do after chats, that's where that'll be. Stuff like that. And eventually I'm going to be making some giveaways, mostly just for Discord. So definitely check that out. What up, Texas Antique? How you doing? I got 10 RX they gave me. I read about Michael Jackson die in heart chemical. Where'd it go? In heart chemical cocktail and had a wake up call. It was BS. Tits, pill, mill, big racket. Yeah. Treating the symptoms. Boy, that's a brilliant plan. I got, let's see, nothing can break me now but loss of family. Burn the world for my family and all. Yep. No, I get it. Unfortunately, it never gets easier as you get older either, because you're going to lose family. Everybody's going to lose family. You can only pray that you're first. You know what I mean? But even then you're worried, like, what the fuck are they going to do? And then And then the fucking song comes on. If I don't see tomorrow, will she know how much I love her? You know, that fucking song comes on. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. All right, I'm skipping some of these. I was 25 feet from a burning pit that burned shit in plastic. Ooh, that's got to be good for your lungs. Yeah, the VA has its limits. Government, yeah. Waiting for my cancer. MRE caused stomachache, cancer. Oh, sorry, stomach cancer. The guy that ate them, like no tomorrow, stomach IBS, and no one had a cancer. I just saw you 1 minute ago. I'm on a laptop. Okay. Really don't tell me that. I ate MREs like they were going out of style. People do that shit on YouTube now. They have channels devoted to eating old MREs. Like, this one's from Vietnam. Okay, fucking millennial with your man bun. How bad is that? Oh, look, it's got a free cigarette. Smoke it, bitch. Well, I would, but, you know, I'm inside. Try microwaving an MRE. It's a trip. I bet it is. It makes a light show. It's like putting tinfoil into a microwave. The coolest thing about MREs for me is that heating packet. That shit is like Science Theater 10,000. I would have thought that was science fiction. The first time I heard about that, I was like, what? No. You're selling a vintage MRE. That's a trip. Yeah. No, there is. There's channels, YouTube channels. Find some of them. Do some searches for these channels. And then if you have MREs, contact them. Say, hey, you want to buy one of my MREs? It's really old. Yeah, the guy who eats MREs. That was a craze. Like, everybody was doing it. Even Crazy Russian Hacker was doing it, I think. You should keep on my here. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end it there. I got to get ready for other shit. And we got burgers to eat, I think. So I will check you out on Saturday for the Bible chat and next Monday for the next evening catch-up. Although, Irish has said that he's trying to get his computer up and running, so there might be morning musters next week. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you Saturday for the Bible chat, Monday for the next evening catch up. Until then, make sure to keep your family close. Watch out for that government. Try to live as free as you can. Simplify.